Hello everyone, the new year is approaching, and even if you do not know how to draw, today everyone will draw their own dragon with me. So for this task, we will need a canvas, PVA glue, sheets of Potel, we can use gold paint, glitter, acrylic paint, 3 types of brushes, wide, flat ones, which you can get in a hardware store, round, narrow, and small, round ones like the ones found in a nail store. Here's a picture for reference. Next, I'll just apply colors on the canvas in spots. On the left side, I have only white and blue. There will be a moon inside, but just look closely to the right side, where I will be outlining the sky. I want to paint as accurately as possible, using a sponge to create a random effect. And in the middle, closer to the left side, I will have the dragon. This space serves as its background, so I will paint there as roughly and unclearly as possible. You can also do this underpainting. It will ease the process of painting the dragon later, as you can see. I just spread it with a sponge, just like I do with the sky, just like the moon. I do it using just a sponge. But because of the fact that different spots were on the canvas, these spots appear differently in a lively way. They do not need to be drawings, not on acrylic, and I apply a little PVA glue. You can, in principle, on acrylic, but only then you will need to cover it with matte or glossy varnish. It all depends if you want it to shine or be matte. After applying it, the stains fade and I draw on top again, now more. I take a wide brush, a flat one, and make spots on the moon. Look them up on Pinterest. Be inspired by pictures. When you draw, please pay attention that the moon is not flat. We need to imagine as if we were drawing on a globe, like we draw spots on the ball, meaning they are not in a flat line, but they seem to go around the ball. Try to do this as well. Remember, we have a main drawing. Imagine where you will place the dragon. You can see now my strokes are not very beautiful and even, so I draw the upper right part straight, trying as hard as I possibly can. As you can see, I draw the drawing chaotically. I have a reference for you. We're going to draw this dragon now. My first layer of acrylic is dry. Don't be scared. Take our reference, put it next to it. I'll attach a video of it. We just start assembling it piece by piece. Puzzle. Anyone who watches my lessons knows that any complex picture can be drawn. The key is to be patient and to build it up little by little, layer by layer. In general, you can create a masterpiece ad infinitum. So I need these colors, some kind of light yellow, white, although it could have been mixed with white, but I bought it, dense acrylic. Acrylic should be dense, black, white, and peach flesh, water, 3 brushes wide and thick, and two narrow ones. I buy it at an art store and trim it a little so they are all ready, and water. But don't soak it too much so that the acrylic is denser. But before you draw, I think a simple pencil won't be visible here, so I'll show you with a marker. We need to divide the canvas, so we'll divide our canvas into half. So half, and horizontally, half, half horizontal, half vertical, and here we also divide the halves, and also here, now we need to give our guide to our head. Here we will have the top. The highest point will be the neck of the dragon here. This is the upper part, the very top piece of our square. Yes, then we go down. Below, look at the division. We go down lower, right where our shading ends, we have an eyebrow. Our eyebrow rests, then a straight line goes from it. There is a straight line here, we have nostrils. Here we can directly draw the nostrils. Nostrils, sharp jaw, you can see how cool it is when there's shading almost to the middle of our division. Then the smile is so stern. Here you can immediately draw our fangs. You see, look, the top fangs should be behind the front ones. Here, front, bottom, and here. Here the front and bottom will be, then there's a straight oblique line. Keep this line all the time, but he looks at an oblique angle. Like this, it goes here. Here is our beard. We will draw it somewhere like this, and from here his torso, that is, everything here is kind of light. Well, you can also draw the horns. Well, we'll draw the horns anyway when we do. Draw. So now, since we have a dark background, we already have a dark patch. We need to paint lighter spots. We now start with our head and draw our eyes, the eyes of the dragon. Now I'm adding darker gray paint since our eyebrow is here, yes. Then the second eyebrow of the eye that we draw. Somewhere around here, we just need to designate it with you now. And this will be our eye. So get your bearings, and the eye should not be too far from the smile, because the smile continues somewhere even here. And the eye, it's located here. And the eye shouldn't be very big, because in animals, in tigers, in everyone, eyes are much smaller. So now with a gray batch, we need to make gray spots with you. The shadow that exists. So our jaw is generally black here. You can put a straight black blot. So add beige to this gray. We still need to darken it here. Here we will have our beard. We will give it a background, and let's give it white. We'll add more white to this puddle. We'll make it, look, we'll let it go lighter from our guide. Let's draw the horns. Here's the first horn. It goes somewhere deep. Now you will see behind. Then the second horn, it should be a little grayer. That is, it should have a different contrast. Here's the second horn. It is just visible. Here is the second horn, yes. Further, the third horn, on the contrary, it is whiter. That is, you see the lines so that you don't overlap each other. Change the colors. You see, yes, like that. Here you can take the black edge and darken it so that our horn can be seen. That's it. We'll do the same. A little lighter, another horn. It's indented, so it goes here. So we'll finalize them. Our horns, look, we'll also make a gray and beige mixture. Make the back part, draw it with different ones. Dip the brushes and draw the scales like leaves. Now we're drawing the leaves in a row, only each next row should be different, either in color, well, in shape it's clear that they can differ, but it's better in color, in tone. Now let's create a darker area at the start of the leaves using only pure black paint. Apply it at the beginning of the leaves. The lightest one here is our light paint, just like the petals we had. Also, let's paint the petals so that they extend beyond the dragon's body. Yes, the outline that we drew, let's paint these light yellow petals. Some are longer, some are narrower. And now we need to draw our Well, not ours. For the dragon, we'll paint the spikes. Since we have a dark background, we'll use white with a slightly yellowish tint and draw the first layer of spikes. I'm starting from the bottom layer and then moving to the top, creating some smooth, uneven curls, not too close to each other. Now let's also draw the top layer, but we need to darken them. We'll paint them lighter afterwards, but they should differ from the previous ones and be shorter. As we move towards the lower jaw, the sections where the jaws are, they should be shortened. Now let's wash the brush. Here we need to create some texture. We can paint with a color, light gray, add some beige. We also have a light gray eyebrow. It will be easier to paint over it with white. Oh, I didn't add pink. The tongue is a bit pink. I'll now add some red color to the tongue, especially where the black color is. Let's use a bit of this light pink here, and this same light pink for the eye. That's it. It's not needed anywhere else. Now we take a thin brush, mix light yellow with white, and make something like this. Shading, highlighting the nostrils. Here he has another nostril. Let's paint this part. And here we should have a sort of pigtail. The dragon's hair is fashioned like a braid, so to speak. And guys, here's a problem I faced in that picture. And I also managed to repeat it here too, even though I tried not to do it. You see the light fades into white, so we need to darken it, because against this background, the dragon looks bad. So now let's say to take brown or black gray to darken our moon so that our dragon doesn't look washed out. Especially since I need to do shading here because of the marker. So I can create something like a crater there. Now beneath this shadow we have over the eye, we need to do this. Careful not to let too much water get in. Let's wipe off the eye. It should be smaller than it is now, not very wide, slightly closed. Because he appears stern, checking if everything is in order. Now we also need white and yellow for something like eyebrows. But we drew them like the scales below. Yes, so do these eyebrows. They are like scales, but only going upward, sort of like some type of fangs. Guys under the eye here also make dots like we did on the jaw. Now let's proceed to the lower jaw, right at the junction where the lower jaw begins. Do something like this here. How to draw a line on dresses, like this line. When the jaw starts to protrude downwards, it follows a tight line. After the line, draw a light gray stripe there. After the line, you could create intermittent light. There's a gray stripe, and here, as we drew, I'll often repeat how we drew it because everything is very similar here, but more elongated. With these elongated strokes, we draw fangs. Not fangs, but fur, sort of. And here it can be more wavy. Now let's move on to the horns. The horns are relatively easy because the first horn, which we can barely see, draw it with pure white, as you know, like fish scales. Then you can duplicate this with a voluminous acrylic contour. For the next horn, apply light gray to mark a distinction so it can be seen where the next one begins. The next horn is generally light because it comes in a braid. Well, not a braid, but with spikes in different directions. Sharp spikes that extend beyond the horn can first be drawn in one direction. As we go along the length of our horn, they diminish. By the time the horn ends, our spikes also have diminished. So the next horn will also have fish scales. Familiar with them, and we've drawn them before. Here, they might not be as flat as on the first horn. We need to make bigger and more gripping, then we'll just have a rock with stripes. Actually, you can even come up with your own pattern for it. To be on horns, the main thing to remember is this color transition. The bottom should be a little darker so that we can see this horn after the next one. Now let's move on to the eye. For the eye, I cover it completely with gold paint. Let it dry a little. Once the acrylic is dry, we need black acrylic to make a puddle. Wet, wet, just like water. But not to the point it drips. It should be really soft. What does this method provide? Look, from the black color that already outlines, we need to create a light smoke, so to speak. It makes the larger part of the left eye darker. We can make the lower eyelids even darker. Also, this creates a sort of shadow on this side. I'm not sure if the camera is able to capture it, but it should appear semi-transparent. While darkening, we color the pupil black. It's as sharp as a snake's. You may add orange or any color you wish to the iris. I'll make it more defined, like the parts that descend to the eye. Here it is, and with white, I'll just add such a highlight on this side. And also with white, like we did with the sticks. Yes, with the sticks on top, we'll create the upper eyelid, and here. I'll soften the edges slightly with light to give it a stern look. Well, in general, folks, we have maximized it. Essentially, folks, the foundation of the dragon is finished. I mean, in essence, the drawing is complete. From here on, it really depends on your desire, how much detail you want to draw, yes, how much clearer you want to make something. But what can be done? Here, to make it clearer, for example, we can make the spikes clearer, more obvious drawings between the leaves. For instance, drawing attention to the leaves with this kind of shading. Not everywhere, for example, where it casts more shadow, yes. Where we did between the leaves, just connect them. For instance, sketch the horns more clearly. Well, this is now up to your imagination, but congratulations to those who made it to the end. The dragon is ready, and I plan to play a prank by giving this picture to someone too. Like you think I didn't show enough, so we take a contour. It could be white or black or the one you have. And some details which are already dark, sketch them with this contour. Go for it. It adds more volume and effect. Well, I think it's really cool, right?